Dark and Darker back with a little bit of news, a little bit of an update on the Dark and Darker situation that actually you weren't even aware of until 5 minutes ago because, once
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
professionalism.
Yeah, I hadn't even really like heard much about it because I was still kind of like how everyone else was like it's kind of up in the air, like no one's
Yeah.
really had said anything. And I know in their tweet they kind of said that, or the tweet that we saw, they kind of said like they've been kind of like quiet for a bit. But no, yeah, it's interesting that it's like we got some more news finally like on it.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I'm not going to lie, my take. This is editorializing. This is just personal kind of sketch. But we'll, we'll see. So Dark and Darker has, as now is becoming in vogue, right? I've noticed this, like everything now has a Discord, which I love Discord, so I'm all for it, but it's becoming like the check out our Twitter account from, 15 years ago, right? Like when games started getting Twitter accounts, it was like this new thing and you would go there for information. Now everything has a Discord. And so Dark and Darker has a Discord, and this tweet was posted on April 14th, and credit to Redbeard Flynn for retweeting it, which put it on our radar. But the original tweet was from Force Strategy, and the tweet shows some pictures from their Discord, from the Dark and Darker Discord. And it says that still not allowed back on Steam. This is the tweet, by the way. Still not allowed back on Steam due to ongoing legal issues with Nexon. Dark and Darker developer Iron Mace have announced they are running their own playtest off the platform. To participate, players will have to download the game client via torrent. What are your thoughts so far before I read I'll read the announcement from the Discord, but what are your thoughts so far on them using torrent as, because I was always like, that's sketch. Isn't that where you pirate stuff? That's kind of like,
Yeah, I mean, it's commonly known as like stuff like that, right? That's involved with like torrent links, but yeah, that's interesting. They're doing that because I don't know, like, is exactly what like the tweet says, right? Like the header, it's like saying, they're still not allowed on Steam yet, right?
yeah,
They're still basically out of it, and they're still going on with it. They're still on. There still is ongoing legal issues. So it's
yep.
like it's crazy to me to think that you're continuing, playtest. I mean, you would assume that that type of stuff is on pause for however long it needs to be, right? Because I don't know. I just feel like that's just, to me, it just feels like a little too soon, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of gets me. Like, one, we're using torrent. Two, how soon we're doing this. But I kind of, if I'm a Dark and Darker fan, the little glimmer of hope I get from this is like, well, at least they're confident enough in whatever they're approaching this from to keep trying. They're not throwing in the towel immediately. They're working hard. They're going to keep trying. So if I'm a Dark and Darker fan, at least I have that hope in me. But the post on Discord, this is from somebody named Terrence in the Discord. I assume Terrence is some sort of mod or something of that nature. I don't know who Terrence is, but he says, or they say, "Hi, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We apologize for the radio silence. Unfortunately, due to our current situation, we must be careful. Rest assured that we are working around the clock to safeguard the continuance of Dark and Darker. Unfortunately, due to the complexities of our situation, especially across international lines, it is taking time to resolve the Steam situation. In order for us to keep our promise to our fans, we've had to go old school this time. To participate in the Alpha Number 5 playtest, please download the game client through our torrent link below." Then it gives a link, and it says in all caps, "Do not get the torrent from any other sources, as we cannot guarantee the integrity of any other links. All future patches will also be distributed in this manner, and you should only get the links from our official Discord announcement channel. Unfortunately, due to compliance with the Korean game rating regulations, we are unable to service this playtest in the Korea region. We are deeply sorry to our fans there, and we'll do our best to include all regions in the future. What is your take on that?
I mean, yeah, I understand. It's like, okay, they're trying to continue this the playtest because they're still in that like mentality of like, okay, like when the game is supposed to launch, or at least give something to the players, right? But I don't know. It just feels a bit odd. Like I said, I'm not a developer. I'm not a programmer. I don't really know too much about how these things work. Also, keep in mind too, it's like I know that everything has a Discord now, right? And this is like their official
Mm-hmm.
Discord and all that. So it's like they're saying, okay, they're emphasizing only play or only download this through our Discord, right? Like through our links.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just like you said, it just kind of feel odd. It feels a little odd, like out of place, like for that to continue to happen. Because I mean, like they'll continue these playtests, and then what if something happens? With
Yeah.
the ongoing like investigations and the ongoing like legal stuff that's going on. Then it's like, okay, you just added more players and also more coverage on this. Isn't that kind of risking stuff, right?
That's honestly my reading that is like my biggest concern or my biggest thought or my biggest whatever you'd want to call it is how in the middle of an ongoing legal situation in which one company is claiming that this entire game is built off of stolen files, how can they still run a playtest? How can they still
Yeah.
put this out there legally speaking?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
is this even like, is this even legal? And apparently,
Hmm.
so like I know it had to do with the ratings, but there's regions that were excluded. And it also seems, somebody posted, so the tweet was by, Force Strategy on Twitter. Somebody replied to this tweet with another screen cap from, I'm assuming, the Dark and Darker Discord again. It's the same name, Terrence. Once it adding everybody in the Discord, which if you're not uh, aware of how Discord works, when you at everyone, that means everybody who is a part of the Discord, no matter their roles or whatever, they get a notification. So this is like kind of sounding the horn, if you will, to let everyone know what you're saying. And at everyone, it says the login screen for this playtest was made as a temporary measure and may be confusing. The first time you log into the game, please enter an ID and password to create your account. You'll need to remember that ID and password to access the account in the future. Sorry for the confusion. So apparently, it seems like perhaps the UI changed, the whole,
Yeah.
like it just seems like, I don't know. Part of me wants to hope that this is just just the rebellious small company saying you can't keep us down. But at the same time,
Hmm.
it kind of just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like sketchy. And I mean, it's free. It's a free playtest as far as I understand. I may be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But as far as I know, I could, if I were to be frisky enough, I could get into their Discord and download the torrent link and play the game for free. I think were they charging on Steam?
No, yeah, like the playtests and everything were all just free playtests. I know they were like dots. I mean, I don't know exactly what their end game was going to be, whether it was going to be a free to play or a paid. I assume it was going to be a paid
Right.
like game, maybe not too like, like a indie price, like or
Yeah.
a double A price, right, where it's not too much in the range, maybe like above $20, right, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
um, so that's just me thinking that that's what they were going for. They never really
Yeah.
mentioned free to play, but it could have been. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I mean, like them describing that, it's just odd. At the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
odd. It's just like something that like I I don't know if these things happen, right? Like if
Yeah.
like with torrent links and everything, I haven't really like gotten into all that. Like the last time I did something like that was like, like with like playing games or like that so long ago, where that was kind of like a way to get into betas and stuff, right?
Yeah.
versus like having it on a specific platform already, such as Steam.
Yeah.
So it's just weird, and I understand that too. Like I think it's kind of like what you were saying, where it's like oh yeah, they can't stop us from getting to our players and have us continue this journey that we're trying to make. But it just feels like bad timing for it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the end, my ultimate hope, like, again, I have no skin in this game because I don't play this game, and it didn't look all that appealing to me as a player. As a viewer, it's fun to watch in Discords or, when somebody streams it or whatever, but it's mostly fun to hang out with people. It's not like, to me, it didn't pique my interest.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
interesting when I think there was a time you played it and you somehow survived all these odds that you shouldn't have survived. Like little moments like that was fun, but I have no skin in this game because it doesn't interest me in as a player. But I hope, for the sake of the people that do like the game, that something like this doesn't make it worse.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
doesn't,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
in the end, whatever gets whatever turns out to happen, right? Like whatever comes through the legal thing, this isn't used as another thing against them. Like, oh, well, we sent a cease and desist because of DMCA on Steam, and then they went and ahead and in defiance or thumbing our nose at the order, went ahead and released a torrent link and blah 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 blah. So therefore, the damages in the end become more punitive, and Dark and Darker goes dark for good. And so that's just my hope, like that it doesn't happen that way, that it doesn't end up costing them more in the long run. But I assume, this is an assumption, I assume they have some sort of legal department that they cleared it through, or somebody who watched Law and Order a few times and was like, yeah, go ahead. I don't know. It's odd, as you said, but it's a little bit of an update on the Dark and Darker situation from last week. So yeah, we'll see what happens. If more news comes out between now and the next time we release an episode, we'll do another. We'll touch on it again, but we'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm interested. I'm actually interested to see how this turns out. Just because it's like when the whole thing happened in the beginning, where it was like that chain of events, right? Of it, like, oh no, it had DMCA claim. Oh no, it's been taken off of Steam. Oh no, now there's a legal battle, like all this stuff. But then there's like a playtest in the middle of it. It's kind of like, okay, this is kind of turning into something else, right? It's like it's almost like we're watching like a drama or something unravel, and like we're trying to put the pieces together of like how this plot will end, like to see like what will actually happen. But I mean, look, like if everything's going good for them, then okay, cool. Like they're still trying to have their player base taken care of with the game, and having them be able to play the game, because I know there's a lot of people who've played it. I mean, it was a super popular game in the few days that it was out, or the few playtests that were out. Like I mean, it goes back to like when I first found out about it, I was like, oh man, this looks interesting. Like it's like a looter, well, not looter shooter, but like an extraction shooter, except medieval style, right? Where like you're playing with swords or arrows.
Hogwarts is what I called it.
Yeah, and you had the wizard stuff. It was just kind of like really interesting the way that it was going about. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Like I'm interested to see what happens after this. Are we gonna get? Are they gonna have like? Are the playtests gonna be smooth? Right, like where nothing is there's nothing said about it. Where it's like, okay, yeah, they can continue playtests as long as all this stuff's happening. Or are we gonna see something where it's like, oh, nope, no more playtests because so and so happened, right?
Yeah,
guess we'll have to wait and find out on this one.
To be continued on that.